Hello, everyone, to the founder and president of EPCOR, who serves as the fluid and fire of the organization, Dr. Richard Sanchez, the session chairperson, moderator, facilitator, Sir Glenn Miller, co-chairpersons, Dr. Jervin Reyes and Sir Darwin Kakal, to the judges and presenters and all present here, good evening. Last November 14, we discussed about quantitative data analysis using SPSS. For tonight, what we will be discussing is the next topic under this, which is drawing conclusions from quantitative inquiry. How do we do it? Drawing conclusions from a quantitative inquiry involves interpreting the data you've collected to answer your research questions or support or refute your hypothesis. In drawing conclusions, we have to be objective. That is, we have to avoid overstating results, and conclusions should align with the strength of the evidence. We also have to use plain language, and we have to avoid overwhelming readers with statistical jargons. There are several guides on how we are going to draw conclusions. So first, you have to review your research questions or hypotheses. You have to clearly restate the goals of your study. You have to ensure that your conclusions are directly tied to the objectives. You also have to address your research questions. So, if you have 5 questions, it goes that there must be 5 conclusions. There must be a one-to-one correspondence between your objectives and your conclusions. So, 5 questions, 5 conclusions, or 5 objectives, 5 conclusions. No more, no less. We also have to analyze the results. We have to summarize the key findings, and we have to ensure that tables and charts are clearly labeled with meaningful legends to facilitate the interpretation. Because our interpretation depends on what is the content of our table. We also have to check for statistical significance. You have to determine whether your results are statistically significant as regards to point 0.10 level of significance, 0.05 level of significance, or 0.01 level of significance. A statistically significant result suggests that your findings are unlikely to have occurred by chance. So this level of significance determine your level of confidence about the result. So, if your level of significance is 0.10, therefore, you have 90% level of confidence that your findings are unlikely to have occurred by chance. If your criteria for rejection is 0.05 level of significance, it means that your level of confidence is 95%. So, it goes that if your level of significance is at 0.01, therefore, your level of confidence that your findings are unlikely to have occurred by chance is 99%. That is the reason why when we do medical research, the suggested criteria for rejection is at 0.01 level of significance so that the researcher is at least 99% confident that the findings that I have gathered is unlikely to have occurred by chance. Next, we really have to interpret results. And for us to be able to interpret results, we have to translate numerical data into meaningful insights. Now, when we interpret our results, we have to address the research questions, meaning we are going to answer what is being asked. I'm going to give you here an example. So, we have to directly answer its research question using our result. An example here is in terms of descriptive quantitative research question. So the question is, assess the teaching competencies of the respondents in terms of mastery of subject matter. So that is the research objective, to assess the teaching competencies of respondents in terms of mastery of subject matter. Now, it so happened that the items under competencies in terms of mastery of subject matter states that the teacher teaches the lessons in mathematics without relying in his or her notes. So if that is the item, then therefore the best choices that we can have is to strongly agree, or to agree, or to disagree, or to strongly disagree, because the item says that the teacher teaches the lessons in mathematics without relying in his or her notes. So if I am the respondents, I will probably answer agree or strongly agree, or some respondents might disagree. But then take note that our objective is to assess the teaching competencies of the respondents in terms of mastery of subject matter. So, we are not going to answer that objective or that question as strongly agree or agree. Because if we are to assess the teaching competencies, then our assessment could be highly competent, moderately competent, or less competent, or not competent, based on the objective that we have. So in this case, this choices strongly agree, agree, disagree, strongly disagree, falls under the uh, categorical response. This is not the verbal interpretation. This four falls under categorical response. And our verbal interpretation for this could be, as I have mentioned a while ago, it could be highly competent, or moderately competent, or less competent, or not competent. But then, for us to be able to do that, there must be supporting literatures that will tell us that if you strongly agreed that the teacher teaches the lesson in mathematics without relying on his or her notes, then the teacher is highly competent in terms of mastery of subject matter. So that is how we are going to uh, draw conclusions from our quantitative inquiry. We really have to answer the question, or we really have to answer the objective. Okay? So that is if we are dealing with descriptive statistics. How about if we are to deal with inferential statistics. So, in here, I am going to give you sample applications of drawing conclusions from quantitative inquiry based on results. The last lesson that we have, last November 14, we identified the three different inferential questions that we can have. So, either we can have relation, effect, or difference. So these are the three inferential questions that we can use in uh, in our study or in our research question. So let us have each of these three an example. Let us start with relationship. So we cannot interpret results of relationship unless we are familiar with this table. This table is the values of correlation coefficient. Technically, our result, if we are to compute for relationship, must not exceed to positive 1 and negative 1. So our result can be found only between positive 1 to negative 1. Now, if our results in relationship, or if our result upon computing the value for relationship is positive 1 or between positive 1 and negative 1, then that is perfect positive relationship between the variables. If the value that we have computed is from negative 1 to 0, that is perfect negative relationship between the variables. And if the value that we have computed is 0, therefore, there's no relationship that exists between variables. Take note that our result could be high positive correlation or high negative correlation, or it could also be a low positive correlation or low negative correlation, or as what I have mentioned, it could also be no relationship at all. Now, when we speak of perfect positive relationship between two variables, it means that as the value of our x increases, the value of our y also increases. So that's positive relationship. Positive relationship also exists when the value of our x decreases and the value of our y also decreases. So, perfect positive relationship. Now, in the case of perfect negative relationship, if the value of our x increases, the value of our y decreases. So that's negative relationship. Negative relationship also exists when the value of our x decreases and the value of our y increases. So again, if the computed value is 0, no relationship exists between variables. So let us consider this result. Now, it is mentioned earlier that we really have to identify our research problem or our research objective, because our conclusion is dependent upon our objective or our research problem. So in this case, the research objective is to determine the relationship between skills acquisition and job performance and career advancement. Now, based from the value that we have computed here, we have here for the skills acquisition and career advancement, the value is 0.781 and the p-value is 0.00. Our criteria for rejection is 0.01 level of significance. Now, going back to the relationship or the values of correlation coefficient here, so zero point 0.7, zero point 0.7 positive is near positive 1. So therefore, going back, we have here a high positive correlation between skills acquisition and career advancement, and as indicated by our p-value here, 0.00, which is less than 0.01, our conclusion will be there is a significant relationship between skills acquisition and career advancement. Now, in terms of job performance, because that is also part of our objective to identify or to determine relationship between skills acquisition and job performance and career advancement. Now, the value is 0.791, which is also near to positive 1. So therefore, we have a high positive correlation between job performance and career advancement as reflected by our p-value of 0.000, which is less than zero point zero 0.01 level of significance. So, if we are going to relate this result to what we have discussed a while ago about the level of significance, then therefore we can say that the researcher could be 99% sure that there is a high positive relationship between skills acquisition and career advancement, and at the same time there's also a high positive correlation between job performance and career advancement. So for us to be able to draw a very good conclusion when we are trying to determine relationship, so these are the things that we need to consider. So the computed value, wherein the value should be between positive 1 to negative 1. So if the value is positive, there's a high positive correlation. But if the value is negative or the computed value is negative, there's a negative correlation. Also, we really have to consider our criteria of rejection. This criteria of rejection must always be spelled out. We cannot draw conclusion unless we identify or we determine or we specify our criteria for rejection. Okay? So, we are done with example of drawing conclusion for relationship. So, the next is drawing conclusion when we are to determine the effect. So, in this case, the objective is to determine if certification programs has an effect on career advancement. So again, we have to determine here, or the problem is to determine if certification programs has an effect to career advancement. Now, our predictor, or when we say predictor, this one will determine whether or not it has an effect on career advancement. So you can see here that the R square value is high. So we have 0.691. So since we have a high R square value, then this can predict that the model is significant, which really manifested in this result. So the model that we can create out of this one, or the model manifested and the result of this one, is very or highly significant because it is 0.000. So this is less than zero point zero 0.01 level of significance, which again, it means that we have a 99% confidence level that the result is valid by 99%. Now, based on result, we have here the t-value of 25.403, which is significant at 0.000. Our criteria for rejection is 0.01. So therefore, what will be our conclusion here? So based on the value that we have here, we can say at 99% level of confidence that certification programs has an effect on career advancement. Okay? So that is how we are going to draw conclusion if we are given data wherein our uh, computed value is high, and at the same time the p-value is less than zero point zero 0.01 level of significance. Next is an example about the difference. So in here, the objective is to find significant difference on the effect of certification programs when grouped according to work location. Take note, the statistical treatment used in here is ANOVA, which means that the work location could be three or more locations. Because if there are only two locations, then therefore we are going to use t-test. But since ANOVA is used, then we can assume that the location being referred to is three or more locations. So, going back to our objective, difference on the effect of certification programs when grouped according to work location. So, skills acquisition. then the F value is 1.134 and the P value is 0.342. Take note that our criteria for rejection is 0.01. But in here, the P value is 0.342. So, meaning, in this case, we have to accept the null hypothesis that there's no, or rather, yeah, there's no significant difference on the effect of certification programs when grouped according to location, or skills acquisition has no significant, wait, there's no significant difference on the effect of certification programs to skills acquisition when grouped according to work location. But take note, in the case of job performance, in the job performance, the F value is 3.407 and the P value is 0.002. Take note that 0.002 is less than 0.01. So therefore, in this case, we have to reject the null hypothesis. And if we are to reject the null hypothesis, so therefore, there is a significant difference on the effect of certification programs to job performance when they are grouped according to work location. But then, since the statistical tool that was used in here is ANOVA, the only thing that we can determine here is there is a significant difference, but then we cannot identify the sources of differences. For us to be able to do that, there must be another higher statistical treatment that can be used to be able to identify the sources of differences. But for now, since we only use ANOVA, then we can only establish that there is a significant difference on the effect of certification programs to job performance when they are grouped according to work location. So that is how we are going to draw conclusions from quantitative inquiry based on the result of the data that we have computed. And these results that we have gathered will help us to make recommendations. And from these results, this can help us suggest practical applications, future research directions, or interventions based on the findings that we have. So, that is how we could be able to derive conclusions out of quantitative inquiry. So that is all, and thank you, everyone.